All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something pretty fascinating, the Black Achievement Fund.
Okay.
You familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't looked into it too deeply, but I know they're trying to do some really innovative things in terms of community development.
Yeah, and that's kind of what caught my eye too, is just the scale of their ambition is incredible. They're really trying to create a whole new model specifically for Black communities. So we're looking at their guiding principles and mission document today.
Okay.
And honestly, it's mind-blowing, some of the stuff in here.
Yeah, I think what's interesting to me is how they combine this almost audacious economic vision with a deep commitment to social and cultural values.
Right.
It's not just about like, okay, let's make a bunch of money. It's really about how do we use economics to build a better world?
Yeah, almost like a more holistic view of economics, right? Not
Exactly.
just the dollars and cents, but the impact that it has on people's lives.
Exactly.
So let's talk about this audacious economic vision for a second. They talk a lot about collective economics.
Right. Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
So the idea is to harness the power of small contributions from a large number of people.
Okay.
And they actually call it Ujamaa,
Ujamaa.
which is a Swahili word for familyhood, or, think about it like cooperative economics.
Gotcha.
And the goal is to get 10 million people contributing just $9 a month,
Wow.
which if they hit that target, we're talking about generating over $1 billion every year.
Okay, so $1 billion annually from just $9 per person.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds almost too good to be true. Is that even possible?
It's a big question, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. We spend small amounts of money all the time on things that don't necessarily enrich our lives.
Yeah.
Like, what if we redirected some of that spending towards something with a larger purpose?
Yeah.
Something that could really have an impact on our communities.
I see the potential there, but how do they actually plan to use that money? It's not just about handing out cash, right?
No, definitely not. The BAF has laid out 10 guiding principles
Okay.
that kind of act as a roadmap for how they intend to use these funds.
Okay.
And they cover a wide range of areas, everything from, Black unity and pride to environmental sustainability, even international aid.
Wow.
Very broad.
Okay, so let's unpack some of those principles.
Yeah,
One that I was really curious about is this emphasis on Black leadership.
right.
What's the thinking there?
I think this is where it gets really interesting. So the BAF isn't just about solving like immediate problems.
Right.
They're thinking very long term
Okay.
about creating a sustainable system for future generations.
Yeah.
And they believe that nurturing a new generation of leaders who are accountable to the Black community is absolutely key to that.
So it's about empowering people to take ownership of their own destiny, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
about investing in education mentorship programs, creating opportunities for young people to really step up and lead. And the BAF sees this as a crucial element in fostering a Black renaissance,
Mhm.
of innovation and achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually draw a lot of inspiration from ancient Kemet,
Oh, wow.
really highlighting that historical legacy of Black excellence.
It's not just about economic development, it's about reclaiming a narrative.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this kind of connects to another really fascinating principle, which is community service.
Okay.
So the BAF isn't just asking for financial contributions, they're also asking for time and commitment.
Gotcha.
Every member is going to pledge at least 5 hours of annual community service.
Okay, now 5 hours doesn't sound like a lot, but you multiply that by 10 million members.
Right.
That's 50 million hours dedicated to uplifting Black communities.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's massive. So where do they envision all this community service happening?
That's the beauty of it. It's not about dictating how people serve.
Yeah.
It's really about encouraging them to find ways to contribute to their own communities.
Yeah.
So, whether it's mentoring youth, cleaning up parks, supporting local businesses, it's really about fostering this sense of collective responsibility.
It sounds like they're really trying to shift the whole culture almost like away from this individualistic mindset towards a more communal way of being.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Hmm.
And I think the BAF understands that, lasting change requires more than just money. It requires a shift in values and a commitment to collective action.
Right? Yeah.
And that kind of brings us back to that core principle of Ujamaa.
Right. That idea of collective economics. I'm starting to see how all of these principles fit together. They're not just isolated ideas, they're all interconnected, right? Supporting this larger vision of self-sufficiency and empowerment.
Yeah, and that's what makes the BAF so intriguing to me. They're not just offering like a financial solution.
Right.
They're really presenting a whole new paradigm for how Black communities can define their own future.
So it's not just about building businesses or schools, it's about building a whole ecosystem where those institutions can thrive.
Exactly. And that ecosystem is built on values like Black unity and pride, where education is prioritized, where people are invested in the well-being of their neighbors, and where leadership comes from within the community itself.
This all sounds incredible, but I have to ask the practical question, is this really sustainable? Can a system like this actually work in the long run?
But that's a conversation for part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll delve into the potential challenges and really explore whether this model can truly deliver on its promises.
Okay, so we're back, and I've been thinking about all these guiding principles, like how they would actually play out in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a community where people are genuinely invested in each other's success. Everyone's contributing not just financially, but with their time and their skills.
It's a powerful vision, and the BAF actually takes it a step further
Okay.
with this concept of like model Black communities.
Wait, so it's not just theoretical.
Right.
They're talking about building actual communities from the ground up.
That's right. Like, think of it as a blueprint for sustainable development, rooted in all those like African-centered values and humanitarian principles we talked about. Creating environments that nurture Black unity and pride,
Mhm.
where education and community engagement are really paramount. And of course, where Ujamaa is like woven into the very fabric of daily life.
Wow, so it's not just about building houses, it's about building a whole culture, a way of life.
Exactly.
Almost like they're creating a microcosm of the world they want to see.
Exactly. It's a proof of concept, right?
Yeah.
Demonstrating that this model can actually work.
Hmm.
And they're not shying away from the practicalities either.
Okay.
Like, their document specifically mentions things like green practices in construction,
Oh, interesting.
promoting eco-conscious initiatives. So,
That makes sense. Sustainable development can't just be about economic growth. It has to be about, the long-term health and well-being of the community and the planet.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They seem to understand that they're not just trying to solve one problem. They're addressing this whole interconnected web of issues. Yeah. Right? And that interconnectedness is reflected in all those guiding principles.
Yeah.
Everything's linked from economic empowerment to community service to leadership development. It's a holistic approach to community building.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks for a second. How do they plan to actually fund all of this? We talked about the $9 monthly contributions, but is that really enough to build entire communities?
So the BAF intends to use that collective funding in a variety of ways. Think of it as seed capital, right, to generate even more economic activity.
Okay.
They plan to invest in Black-owned businesses, provide loans for affordable housing, support the development of educational institutions, and back all sorts of community-based initiatives.
So it's not just a handout, it's an investment in creating a self-sustaining ecosystem.
Right.
It almost sounds like a modern-day Black Wall Street, but on an even larger scale.
Yeah, there are definitely parallels there. The BAF seems to be drawing a lot of inspiration from historical examples of Black economic success, but then adapting those models for the 21st century.
Okay, so this all sounds incredible in theory, but I'd be naive not to acknowledge the potential challenges here.
Oh,
This
correct.
is a pretty ambitious undertaking, right? We're talking about changing mindsets, creating new systems, and navigating existing power structures.
Right, it's not going to be easy.
So what are some of the biggest hurdles they might face?
Well, for one thing, just achieving that goal of 10 million members
Yeah.
and generating over $1 billion annually,
Right.
that's going to require a massive organizational effort.
Yeah.
Building that kind of momentum and then sustaining it over time. That's no small feat.
And it's not just about the money, right? It's about getting people to actually buy into this idea of collective economics,
Right.
community service, Black leadership. That's a huge cultural shift.
You hit the nail on the head. It requires a change in mindset, moving away from that individualism towards a more collective approach. And that kind of transformation doesn't happen overnight.
And I wonder how they'll navigate the existing power structures, too. Systemic inequalities are so deeply embedded in our society.
Yeah.
How can the BAF ensure that their efforts aren't undermined by those forces?
It's a critical question.
Yeah.
The BAF is going to need to be very strategic in how they leverage their resources and build alliances.
Yeah.
They'll need to find ways to work both within and outside of existing systems, challenging the status quo while also creating practical solutions.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah,
Maintaining those core principles while also being pragmatic about the realities on the ground.
absolutely.
And let's not forget about the potential for internal challenges.
Of course.
With such a diverse membership and a decentralized structure, maintaining unity and cohesion could be really difficult.
Absolutely.
Mm.
The BAF is going to need clear communication, transparency, and accountability within their ranks.
Yeah.
Building trust and consensus among such a large and diverse group that's going to be crucial for their long-term success.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from the visionary to the practical,
Yeah.
and we even dipped our toes into some potential challenges.
Yeah.
But I'm still left wondering, is this all just a dream, or does the BAF really have a shot at making this vision a reality?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's one that we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll analyze the BAF's prospects for success and discuss what their model could mean for the future of community development.
Okay, so we've talked about their vision, their principles, their plans for these model communities.
Mhm.
We've even talked about some of the potential roadblocks they might run into. I mean, it's a lot to take in, but it's also incredibly inspiring.
It is, yeah.
So I guess the big question is this all just a beautiful dream?
Right.
Or do they actually have a shot at making this a reality?
I think that's the question that's been hanging in the air this whole time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think there's an easy answer. You know, the BAF is attempting something really audacious, something that challenges the way we think about community development.
Yeah, so no easy answers. But based on what we've learned so far
Right.
about their model, their principles, their approach to leadership and community engagement,
Mm.
I mean, what's your gut feeling? Are you optimistic?
I am cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
And I emphasize cautiously because the challenges are real.
Yeah.
There will be setbacks along the way, for sure.
Right.
But there's something about the BAF's approach, their commitment to those guiding principles, of that understanding of the interconnectedness of things that really gives me hope.
It's that holistic vision, right? It's not just about throwing money at problems. It's
Right.
about addressing the root causes.
Exactly.
Empowering people to create change from within.
And that's where I think that focus on Black leadership is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a new generation of leaders who are accountable to their communities, who understand the complexities of these challenges, and who are equipped to really develop innovative solutions.
And then there's that incredible commitment to community service, 50 million hours annually.
Right.
I mean, that's a force to be reckoned with. Imagine the impact that could have on addressing systemic issues, on building stronger communities from the ground up.
It's about shifting the whole paradigm, right? Moving away from this mentality of every man for himself and embracing a more collective, collaborative approach.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected, that our individual well-being is tied to the well-being of our communities.
Which brings us back to Ujamaa, that core principle of collective economics.
Right.
It's about understanding that even small contributions, when pooled together, can create a powerful force for change.
Absolutely.
It's about reclaiming our economic power and using it to build a better future.
You know, even if the BAF doesn't achieve every single goal they've set out,
Right.
the very act of attempting something this bold, this visionary, is a testament to the power of collective action. It's a beacon of hope, a reminder that we don't have to accept the status quo, that we can create a different future if we work together.
Absolutely. This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from the theoretical to the practical, from the inspiring to the challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it, right?
I agree.
It's not just about learning facts. It's about expanding our understanding of what's possible,
Right.
about sparking a conversation that could actually lead to real change.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would encourage everyone listening to continue this exploration. Delve deeper into the BAF's guiding principles. Consider how their model might resonate with your own community. And ask yourself, what can I do, however small, to contribute to a more just and equitable world?
Yeah, this deep dive has definitely left me feeling hopeful, energized, and maybe a little bit challenged. And I think that's what learning should do, right? It should push us to think differently, to act differently, to imagine a better future, and then work towards making it a reality.
Beautifully put. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never underestimate the power of collective action to create a better world.